Hi everybody, and welcome to today's Jungle Musing based on the cornerstone philosophy in the jungle, think big, play big. And today I want to just talk about, I want to go back in memory lane to when I first started in my speaking career, and I was reaching out to some people to get support for becoming a speaker. And so I was having lunch with a mentor from National Speakers Association, and he asked me this question. He said, Kelly, if you were standing on a rooftop today, right now, and you had your opportunity to shout out your message to the world, what would it be? And I thought to myself, wow, what a great question. Gee, a little intimidating too. But I took my time and I sort of just went inside and allowed myself to be with that question, and it came pretty quickly. The answer came. The answer was, wake up! Or, wake up! Like, it's still the same message for me. It's still the same core root message for me. Wake up. And I'm not, in a position to be preaching to others to wake up or make the whole world wrong, like you need to wake up, like I'm all woke up, because I'm not. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about today in Think Big, Play Big, is that one of the things that humans do is we adapt, and we adapt to norms, we adapt to playing it safe, we adapt to indoctrination. Recently, I watched the movie Chocolat. It's the first time I watched it in 18 years. It first came out in 2000, starring Juliet and Johnny Depp. That was really a great movie. I remember in 2000, I thought that's a really good movie. But then 2018, I watch it and I'm like, well, whoa, that movie has a gigantic, enormous, very philosophical message underlying the whole movie. And I didn't catch it the first time I watched it in 2000. But after much waking up and unadapting myself to all of the numbing aspects of what it means to be in this current society and have so much pressure to go along, to get along with different ways of being and functioning and operating in this world that we're supposed to be like, or we should be like, or just really, like, this has been a journey for me in waking up. And so what I wanted to share with you was a little bit about this movie that, you may or may not have picked up on yourself when you watch Chocolate. But this woman is a sort of glorified gypsy, Juliet and she's got a daughter. She's a single mom, early 1900s, rural France, okay? And she is independent. She's dedicated to raising her daughter. But, again, this is not a woman back in the day that necessarily got a lot of respect or, that's about it. And so she would move from town to town with her daughter as she kind of got run off and fed up with the town people's mentality and such. So she shows up at this town, she opens up a chocolate shop, she sets up all her stuff, she makes all her chocolate. The mayor, who basically runs the whole little town, who has really laid down the indoctrinations for the people in the town, who was absolutely meant well, absolutely was doing what he thought he was supposed to do as the leader of the town, which was basically everyone was walking around following rules and regulations, and their life force was very low, and their lack and scarcity mentality was very high, and they were just suffering in quite misery, like not being true to themselves at all, not having a voice, not having any joy or life or vitality in their life. And that's one of the things that's first established right away in this movie. So Juliet comes in, she opens up her chocolate factory, and this is the part that people think is frou-frou still. And this is where I want to say, wake up, Wake up. There's nothing frou-frou about this. So if you start to go there thinking, oh, Kelly's going frou-frou, stop and listen to what I want to tell you, please. So anyway, she's making chocolates, and they have a certain extra je ne sais quoi to them. So people start coming in the town, and she picks up on energetically, so you might say psychically, she picks up on where they're sort of adapted and dull, and like their core issue is what's going on with them. And then she looks around and she goes and kind of intuitively finds the perfect chocolate for them. And so she takes a chocolate and she says, here, this is what you need. And then watches them eat the chocolate, and they just kind of, have this visceral experience of just this shift comes upon them, and they're like, dum, da, da, woke up, shifted, and alive again. And so anyway, there was this one woman who comes in, and Juliet picked up on that her and her husband had not had any marital relations for a very, very long time. So she prescribes this one chocolate to the woman, watches her eat it. She's like, wow. And then she says, okay, I had this little bag of chocolates. This is for your husband. Go ahead and take these to your husband for y'all's issue. And the woman says, no, he won't. Nah. She says, just take it. So the woman leaves the chocolate somewhere quite inconspicuously, takes off to go wherever, and the husband goes for it. He finds the bag of chocolates, he eats a chocolate, and wake up! His senses are woke up. He can't wait for his wife to get home, whereupon they begin to again have marital relations and are very happy about it. Very, 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 very happy. So here is where I'm going with this, okay? This movie really helps to, in this sort of bizarre way, get people into a visceral way of being. In other words, the basic message in the movie is you can live up in your head and do all the things that you think you should do, and all the indoctrinations that have come to you when you were a child, and all of the things that everyone else is doing and saying. And if you want to adapt to how things are supposed to be, or how to fit in without getting, judged or such, then just go ahead and adapt, and your life force is going to go down, 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 and you're not even going to know it. But if you want to wake up, if you want to really get yourself into a place where you live in the zone more frequently, you have absolutely, positively more of a connected experience to life, to your higher being, to how things really, really work in this world, given that the truth is we're spiritual beings more than we are humans, then get out of your head. Get out of your head. Wake up. Out. No more. Zzzt. Human intelligence is great. It's awesome. It's very, very important. We love to be intellectual. We love to analyze and think. And it's just straight out causing us to adapt to a dullness in our lives. We've got to get where people understand waking up viscerally, opening up your sensations, your whole other intelligence that lives down here in your body, mind, and soul, your energy. You're an energy being, and this aspect of us is another whole intelligence, and it's not frou-frou. So quit calling it frou-frou. It's not. It is. This intelligent trumps human intelligence. And in fact, this intelligence actually has you be more intelligent with that brain that you also have as a human being. So you want to be in the zone more often, or do you want being in the zone to continue to be random? wake up. You have to meditate. You have to get out of your head and calm your mind and quit believing that your mind is king of you. In the movie, what happens is Johnny Depp enters the movie Chocolate. Back to the movie. So Johnny Depp enters the movie, and he's dressed in gypsy clothes. So they pull up on the river next in this town, and they're in this river boat, and they're gypsies / pirates, and the whole town goes berserk because they've been taught and told that these gypsies are bad people. They steal, they kill, they're horrible, and they're to be judged. They're low class life on the planet. And so, but Johnny and Juliet hit it off, and so they have a party on the boat, and some of the women that have started working for Juliet in her chocolate shop came down for the party that Johnny and the other pirates were throwing, and it was in lieu of sort of this new romance between Juliet Bichette and Johnny. This, like, they were like so chemically connected. And so they go down to the boat at nighttime, and the boat is lit, romantically, like very sensuous. And also, by the way, when I say sensuous, I'm not talking about sex, okay? But I'm talking about your senses, like the senses that live outside of your brain down here in your visceral being. And so Johnny, they have this music they're playing, and in this very adapted town, 1900 rural France, they didn't play music. That was not allowed. They didn't, they were not enjoying any of the joy of life sort of things, like chocolate, music, dance. So anyway, they go down there and they're dancing, and the music is very sensuous, and they're just having a great time. And Juliet goes off with Johnny to his tent room on the boat, and they have an intimate conversation about, Johnny asks her, he says, well, how is moving around all the time on your daughter? And Juliet immediately answers, oh, she's adaptive. It's fine with her. She handles it really great. She adapts easily. And Johnny looks at her like, you're full of it. And then she just breaks down and says she hates it. She can't stand it. She doesn't want to keep moving. She begs me to stop. And so anyway, about that time, the townspeople set the boat on fire, and the gypsies lost their home. Or pirates, gypsy pirates. That's what they were to me, were gypsy pirates. They lost their home, and Juliet got discouraged, and the pirates left. Johnny had to say goodbye to Juliet. They walked away, and about that time, this mayor, who had been withholding from himself and teaching and preaching people to withhold from themselves, and really just the adaptation there was just really to live in this head, this logic, these rules, these opinions, this taught, indoctrinated stuff. Okay, so, but he can't take it anymore. He's got to have some chocolate, and he's pretty sure he's going to just go ahead and destroy the shop as well. And so at night, Juliet and her daughter are sleeping upstairs in their apartment above the chocolate shop. And the mayor sneaks in, he starts eating chocolate, and he just, all the years of withholding from himself and being up in his head and trying to indoctrinate everybody, he just goes berserk. The boy goes berserk. He's like, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. In fact, he got in the display window, and he's like, shoving chocolate down his face, and gets all up in it, all over it, and goes to sleep. So the next morning, he's found by the townspeople. And what ends up happening is Juliet ends up preparing her daughter to leave, and she does it by telling her daughter a bedtime story about some gypsies. It turns out it's the same story of her childhood, being raised by a mom who moved her around, and that's her preparation. So she's going to pick up and take her daughter the very next day. She's had it. This is it. You know, the guy destroyed her chocolate shop. She wasn't welcomed by most of the townspeople. It's time to move on, as per usual. And so her daughter throws this huge fit and begs her not to move her. And the townspeople, meanwhile, have come together, including the mayor, who's now woke up. He's now woke up. He ate the chocolate. He got sensory, awakening, and he became visceral and open and shifted and woo! And so he and all the townspeople gathered up and rebuilt her chocolate shop, cleaned it up, and started making chocolate, replacing the chocolate the mayor had feasted on. And so a new beginning happened, a new story happened, an old adaptation for the townspeople and for this woman whose daughter was being raised to adapt to the same lifestyle of moving and moving on. They stayed, and then Johnny Depp ultimately had some sort of shift that happened to him. It was the in love sensation. See, he had to come back and get her, and if she left with her daughter, he wouldn't have found her. But she stayed, and now she had the whole city on her side. And that is female leadership. That right there is the power of female leadership. If women actually also are willing to go against what we've been taught in terms of staying up in our heads and listening to the logic and the rationalizations and the rules and the opinions and the fears and the everything else that lives up here, and go and move our attention down into our visceral and wake up our senses and begin to really trust our energy in terms of it's amazing to really get that you're an energy being and own it and have it be a priority rather than a maybe situation, or I'll hide it from the rest of the world so they won't call me frou-frou and touchy-feely and whatever else it's called when we talk about these kind of topics. I just want everyone to wake up. This is not touchy-feely stuff, okay? This is important stuff. Now, I know it's spiritual, and so some people think, well, the second you start talking about anything spiritual, then religion comes into play and all this other stuff. We got to stop that too. Wake up. Wake up. We got to wake up. Wake up. This is spirituality and religion are two totally different things. And it's just time to really get that, we're out of balance. We're so up in our heads mentally, and it's just, we're cutting off our life force. So here's what I want you to do. Next time someone says to you, that's frou-frou, or that's woo-woo, or that's touchy-feely, I want you to very calmly but very powerfully say, well, then it must be brilliant and powerful. Because brilliance comes from that energetic aspect of you, merged with your human intelligence, integrated with your human intelligence. So tap into that brilliance, that other aspect that's found viscerally. Because you and I are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if you enjoyed this video, got something out of it, please feel free. Please, I ask you, I request, share it with your friends, like it at the bottom, and even comment so that I have some feedback. And you could also subscribe to my YouTube channel and get on any of the other social media platforms with me. So thank you very much. And until next time, as usual, from In the Jungle,